Hi, my name is Chi, and this is my accepted Sheridan 2026 animation portfolio. I had applied back in 2025, but sadly got rejected with a 74. But hey, I got a 95, and that's pretty cool. I've always wanted to make one of these like Sheridan portfolio videos, and like I'm really happy that I could now. Yay! Um, Here's my score sheet. I believe the cutoff this year was like an 84%. I'm not too sure about that. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, I kind of want to just like make this whole video to, I don't know, show like tips and tricks, or and even show like maybe a little bit of my progress in certain areas. Um, Honestly, I couldn't have made it here without my tutors, and I will have a whole little segment for my tutors at the end of this video. So yeah. Woo, figure drawings! I scored 14 out of 15 this year. I used Conte and newsprint paper to do these. Each week, I would also attend extra life drawings at least once or twice at most, and would do them for at least 1 hour. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know what else to say about figures. Like, I don't know, I think a lot of people have said a lot about figures in other videos, and I think they're way more helpful than what I can give. I kind of just like kept practicing and practicing every single day and hope for the best. Doing muscle studies and bone studies also help a lot in figures. I don't have too much tips to give for rotation other than just look at the rubric that Sheridan gives you and do your best to follow it. Find other ways to design new styles to create your rotation. Make this character seem like it's from a 2D cartoon and give them easy shapes that could be easily detected. Honestly, I don't even think that they look at the rotation that hard. I think if there's a jarring issue with your rotation, that's when they'll start like deducting points off of it. So make sure your rotation has an actual front-facing model and focus on the feet and hand positioning mainly. Here are some of my progress work with me and my tutor June on this rotation. As you can see, she basically stayed the same, but went through a lot of different changes. Okay, the animation, woo! Okay, this year it was a hard drive, and honestly, in my opinion, this was way more better than the cup from last year. The only tips I could really give for this is focus on the 12 principles of animation, like show that off. And I also think they really like it when you're able to kind of like show off like the change of perspective with your object, depending on how like close or far away it is from the viewer's eye. I think they really do enjoy that. Also, you guys don't need to give a crap about line art. Last year, I always thought that like animation needed to be like super duper clean, but like they did. Like they can be messy. Even when I submitted this, I thought my lines were way too messy because I would see people kind of like having quote unquote sketchy line art, and it was like super freaking clean. So I was like really scared that I would be docked points for not having clean line art or anything like that. But I think as long as your lines are readable, it doesn't really matter too much. Just like make it like a clean sketch or something. I don't have many tips to say about storyboards since I kind of just winged it. I would say a common like advice that I was given was like, oh, think about the 180 rule, think about camera angles, like don't make it boring. So if you put the horizon line higher, it's pretty interesting. If you put it lower, it's interesting. But if you put it in the middle, it's pretty like boring, like it's boring AF. So that's also what I took into consideration, never putting my horizon line in the middle. For this section, I'd say your line art could be rough. There's no need for it to be too clean. I don't think they'll take away marks from you if you are clean with it, but don't go too crazy on making your lines like super rushed. Like make your lines pretty readable. When it comes to making the story, think about why the character is doing this and that, especially for when the story first starts, like the first 4 panels of it. For this, ask yourself, is there added context we need to know before the story has started? If so, then maybe don't start there. Maybe making it obvious to the audience on what this character's goal is in the first 4 panels will help, especially without the added context of text. Tell us their goals at the start without writing it, and then obviously make them either achieve or not achieve their goal at the end, depending on the prompt. Perspective lines! Woo! My favorite part of the portfolio. When working on this, I was pretty confident in my skills and layouts. But I swear, nearing the end of the portfolio season, I was showing it off to my friends and other one-time tutors, and they would always mention how my horizon line for my interior layout was really close to the middle or in the middle, which made me panic because I feel like I've been told so many times to not put my horizon line in the middle, but I guess I did anyways. And I was talking to my tutors, and they both basically told me that it's not the worst thing I could do, put my horizon line in the middle as long as there's a reason. My tutor Tori told me that it was fine since the reason it was in the middle was so the audience was able to see what was on top of the table, and that made me less worried. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't stressed at all to be graded harshly because of it, but I wasn't, so that's nice, thank God. Oh my God. I try not to use too much gray tones in my work because I've been told many times that putting too much may make the profs look at your work even harder since they believe that if you put a lot of gray tones, you're trying to hide bad lines or something. So I just limited it to like the three main things I needed, which was the foreground, middle ground, mainly. I took into account of making sure the character had some acting ground. I would also imagine how the character would proceed after this frame as if it was an animation, and if he was able to move freely around it. This year was new because the personals were graded the most out of everything. 25 out of 25, oh my god. And I basically took that as them telling us to really show off ourselves and our work to them. For the sketchbook, I mainly drew a lot during the portfolio season. I know often people can tend to forget about doing it, but taking a step away from your tablet and drawing people outside really can help with like not losing your mind. A lot of what's in my sketchbook is me trying to learn. They really enjoy seeing a sketchbook that feels like it wasn't made with Sheridan in mind. I'll admit that a few of these pages in here are with Sheridan in mind, but I mainly showed off my skills and my thought process in my sketchbook. I think they prefer seeing rough sketches instead of super clean work in sketchbooks, but a dash of like a nice highlighter or watercolor does help with making your pages look pretty. I mainly took a look at CalArt's sketchbook acceptances videos for this because I think it's kind of similar of what they kind of want as well. I'm not gonna go too much into my personals, mainly because I just don't know what to say for them. I'm just gonna show it off anyways. Here they are. My final thoughts on this is no matter what percentage you got, you really shouldn't be basing how good your art is by a grade. Obviously, if you did good, be proud of yourself, but as corny as it sounds, I think seeing your process to the portfolio was more fulfilling than the actual score. What really pushed me this year was finding a tutor that kept me accountable for my lack of working. And speaking of tutors, I would really like to say a big thank you to my tutor June, who was the biggest help ever in tutoring me in my portfolio. I would recommend her to anyone that would ask. Tori was also a tutor of mine. Sadly, they were super busy during the portfolio, so she couldn't help me too much this year, but she still was a massive help and I felt so comfortable to ask her any questions I had about Sheridan. Again, if you're watching this either as a first-time applicant or someone who applied multiple times, please don't let the portfolio discourage you. Rather, let it be a motivator to keep improving. The end. Bye!